In the cold rain of the north, men gather around the fire, their faces painted, their voices rising like wolves in the night. They chant, breathing as one, merging flesh with spirit, calling upon the fury of their ancestors. The ritual begins. The drums thunder. The rain falls like needles, and the warriors of the north surrender themselves to something ancient. Some enter a trance, their bodies trembling, their eyes wild, their breath like that of beasts. These were the Berserker, men who stepped out of their human shells and into the skin of bears and wolves. Warriors who felt no pain, who entered battle naked beneath furs, who were said to tear shields apart with their hands. As the fire roars, they rise, and the charge begins. Between the 8th and the 11th century, a storm erupted from the cold edges of Europe. A people of sailors, farmers, traders and warriors began crossing the seas in longships carved like dragons. We call them Vikings, but they called themselves Norse. Viking was a word for raiding, for the act of going Vikinger, setting sail in search of wealth, battle and glory. They came from the lands that today are Norway, Sweden and Denmark, a harsh world of fjords, deep forests and long winters that shaped their endurance and their hunger for exploration. The Vikings were feared across Europe. Monasteries burned, villages were raided, kings trembled at the sight of the dragon-prowed longships on the horizon. Their brutality was real, but it had purpose. To die in battle with a weapon in hand meant entry into Valhalla, the hall of the slain, where the fallen feasted with the gods and prepared for the final war at the end of time. War was not just survival, it was devotion. Their tactics were fast, ruthless and precise. Sudden coastal raids, superior mobility with longships, the shield wall formation, and psychological terror. But not all Viking warriors were equal. Some were different, more feared, more primal. The Berserker and the Ulfhednar, the bearskin and wolfskin warriors, believed they could channel the strength of beasts. Some historians link their trance-like rage to rituals, chants, mushrooms, or sheer adrenaline. Others believe it was spiritual, a surrender to Odin, the god of war and wisdom. Behind the brutality lived a rich and complex society. Vikings were not only warriors, they were poets, shipbuilders, craftsmen, explorers and traders. Their laws, the Thing, were assemblies where free men debated justice and politics. Women had rights uncommon in Europe at the time: property rights, divorce rights, and influence within the household. They honoured ancestors, valued loyalty, and believed in the power of oaths. Their mythology was deep and poetic. Odin, seeker of knowledge. Thor, defender of mankind. Freya, goddess of love and battle. The 9 worlds, the world tree Yggdrasil, and the fate-bound prophecy of Ragnarok. Every voyage, every raid, every ritual was connected to this spiritual tapestry that guided their lives. They reached lands few Europeans even knew existed. They founded Dublin. They carved settlements across England and Normandy. They sailed down the rivers of Russia to Constantinople. They served as elite guards, the Varangian Guard, for the Byzantine Emperor. They reached Iceland, Greenland, and around the year 1000, North America. Leif Erikson, son of Eric the Red, set foot on a place they called Vinland 5 centuries before Columbus. To the Vikings, the world was not a map, it was an invitation. By the 11th century, the world began to change. The rise of centralized kingdoms, the spread of Christianity, and the strengthening of European defences slowed Viking power. Some Norse converted, some settled permanently, others vanished into the cultures they once raided. The age of raids faded. But the spirit of the Vikings endured in sagas, stones, runes, and in the blood of the lands they shaped. History remembers the Vikings as destroyers, and yes, they burned, they ravaged, they killed. But they were also creators, builders, explorers, poets and storytellers. A civilization forged in ice, guided by gods, and carried across the world by wind and oar. From fire they were born, from battle they lived, and from the sea their legend rose. They were the Vikings, fierce, complex, human, and eternal.